الحمد لله رب العالمين. الحمد لله ذي الملك والملكوت ذي العزة والجبروت. الحمد لله ذي الفضل والكرم ذي القدرة والنعم. الحمد لله حي قيوم لا ينام، عزيز لا يضام، قهار لا يرام. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. أما بعد، يقول الباري سبحانه وتعالى بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم: يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. Or you will believe, fear Allah as He should be feared, and they not accept on the state of Islam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most merciful, grant us this great gift to die on the state of Islam. Allahumma ameen ya arhamar rahimin. Amma ba'd, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes in His book the nature of the human being. And this nature of a human being, often people they think it's a shortcoming or a defect into the creation, not the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but in the character of the human being. One of the things for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَخُلِقَ الْإِنسَانُ ضَعِيفًا, man was created weak. So the weakness of the human being is in nature. It doesn't mean that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't want you to make it. But because of that weakness, Allah created whatever around you to take in consideration this weakness, for you to be successful, although your nature. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one of the characteristics that we have, and everything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala embedded in the nature of the human being, it is for the purpose of the creation, and for the purpose of the task of the mission, which is the mission of the human being, to fulfill his mission as a vicegerent on the earth. One of these characteristics that embedded in the nature of the human being, that the human being had the nature of to be hasty. He always, everything want to be done on the right. He wanted to be done now, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala قال وَكَانَ الْإِنسَانُ عَجُولًا. Indeed, man always was hasty, ever hasty. قال Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala وَخُلِقَ الْإِنسَانُ مِنْ عَجَلٍ. And man created out or from haste. He's always want everything to come on the spot. Someone, when you say this ajala, this one, someone is always hasty to get what he wants. Therefore, we have two conditions. The condition was someone, he wants something good. He wants it now. He wants what they told him, there is something that you can do to gain more money. He said, I want it now. But in the same time, if there's any condition of fear or condition of, let's say, of a threat, he wants to run away from it now. And if there's any difficulty that comes down on him, he wants to have the relief now. And this condition, subhanAllah, is the nature of the human being that Allah embedded in us, which is a great thing from the rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that without it we cannot even live on this earth. Without it, the whole human being will be fully come to their extension. Why? Because if someone doesn't want the good, therefore he doesn't work for it. So everybody will be lazy. If the whole society will be lazy, there will nothing to help people to live together. And if someone will have any difficulty, that he will submit to that difficulty, so everybody will be there. And these two conditions, the man is always aware of his condition to save himself and to keep life going on according to the way of Allah. Now, these characteristics that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala embedded in the nature of the human being are also like a wild garden. A wild garden. If someone will not take care of it, so it's going to go to extreme. It's like you feel a full garden filled with weeds. There's nothing good in it. There's no fruit that it can be even eaten. But someone will take care of that garden. He make it one of the beautiful garden that he can use it and also contemplate it and have it as something to enjoy it. What will have this moderation to cleanse and purify this characteristic embedded in us to be something in our benefit, to use it in our way? It is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it to be for us. The greatest gift in the iman is our faith. Therefore, the faith is that catalysm, or the way that is really cleanse the situation and the natural disposition of the human being, so he will be successful and will guarantee happiness, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala He ordered or He promised us. Now, when it comes to this, there's a situation. If we are someone want to wage the good and want it now, the destiny, it doesn't go with our wish. when you have a problem, the destiny will not answer what you want. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives an example. When someone, for example, is hurt, our people are killed, our people have been attacked, we wish that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will send down punishment on those enemies, send down punishment on those who spread mischief. But it's not happening. We wish also that we'll see people like this, they are in a state of ease. They say, then many people say, why Allah they have in apparent state of ease? It doesn't mean that they're enjoying their life, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you really are in a state of hardship and you feel sorrow, they are feeling the same thing and more. Now, in this condition, someone Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling us that those وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنْ آيَاتِنَا غَافِلُونَ أُولَئِكَ مَأْوَاهُمُ النَّارُ بِمَا كَانُوا يَكْسِبُونَ. Those who do not even believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala liqa, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ لَا يَرْجُونَ لِقَاءَنَا وَرَضُوا بِالْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا وَاطْمَأَنُّوا بِهَا وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنْ آيَاتِنَا غَافِلُونَ أُولَئِكَ مَأْوَاهُمُ النَّارُ بِمَا كَانُوا يَكْسِبُونَ. This ayah, when it was revealed, this was discontinuous. The believers, they were so happy. Why? Because they've been persecuted in Mecca, and the kuffar, they do all the time, and they have like the power over them. And they wish that the punishment will come now to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help them. But it didn't come. So later in the next ayah, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after one ayah, قال وَلَوْ يُعَجِّلُ اللَّهُ لِلنَّاسَ الشَّرَّ اسْتِعْجَالًا بِالْخَيْرِ لَقُضِيَ إِلَيْهِمْ أَجَلُهُم. If Allah will hasten for people the evil, as they do hasten to get the good, they will have already decreed for them the doom. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, this is not the way of Allah, this is not the sunnah of Allah, this is not the law of Allah. The law of Allah will not follow the wish of the believer. The law of Allah follow the planning of Allah, that it goes according His will and perfect and complete wisdom. Therefore, قال ولكن الله سبحانه وتعالى يذرهم في طغيانهم يعمهون. Allah led them in their blindness, living in their blindness. Now then we have a dilemma here, and I ask your attention here. You have a feeling that is founded, you have a sorrow, and you wish that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help you. You are a believer, but the help is not coming. Why? Because the destiny doesn't follow your wish. The destiny follows the plan of Allah. And in this situation, what is the solution? A situation of bitterness, a situation of sorrow, a situation that you know that you are on the truth, but nothing is happening. What is the solution? What is the solution? Someone what thing that he should do to have a solution. The solution, dear brother, respected sister, in this situation, of course it is the patience, of course it is the contentment, but there is one singular thing who want to bring you all of this. It is how to bring tranquility in this time of worry, of deception, of sadness, of difficulties. Because the tranquility, it is actually the solution. But we know the tranquility and the comfort and the peace of mind only comes with its apparent condition. When you have money, you are fine. When you have house and everything, and you go to work, and mashallah, the income comes every month, you are fine, you are tranquil. But this, when it stopped, that when you will be like in a state of bitterness and sorrow and anxiety. How can you then bring that tranquility in those particular moments of difficulty? How can we bring tranquility when the destiny is not going with our wish, and we have our people under persecution, and we cannot do anything, and we have bitterness, and we want to do things? How can we bring that tranquility? Which is mean here, the dilemma, how to bring tranquility in a moment of distress, how to bring tranquility in a moment of difficulty, how to bring tranquility to defeat anxiety. Allah called this as-sakina. Called it as-sakina. And as-sakina is such a great thing that is a sword from Allah, a favor from Allah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent it down. It's not that we can get it or we can buy it in the store. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala قال هو الذي أنزل السكينة في قلوب المؤمنين. He's the one who sent down السكينة. And He says subhanahu wa ta'ala لقد رضي الله عن المؤمنين إذ يبايعونك تحت الشجرة. Allah is well pleased with the believer when they give you their oath under the tree. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He knew what they have in their heart from truthfulness,
from their dedication, for their submission. فَأَنزَلَ السَّكِينَةَ عَلَيْهِمْ. The sakina came down to their hearts. Therefore, in this dilemma, the only one who can help you to go through this difficult moment, it is the as-sakina. The shoulder of Allah is called sakina, but the sakina comes down. I'll give you the example. The sorcerer of Fir'aun, the magician of Fir'aun, there were people who didn't have any importance in the society, being paid by Fir'aun to help him defeat Musa. Now when they get the iman, and they're in front of the biggest tyrant, they not only be patient, but they launch a challenge, a war against Fir'aun. When he threatened them to kill them, what they said? قَالُوا فَقْضِ مَا أَنْتَ قَاضٍ. Decree whatever you decree. Your limit is what you're going to do in this dunya only. What was the thing who helped them to stand firm? It is the sakina. It's not the power that it came when they were so strong. It is the sakina that Allah put in their hearts. What is the power that helped Ibrahim alayhi salam to be having a whole population waiting to avenge their idols, and to see with their own eyes Ibrahim burned. But while he was about to be thrown, what that serenity that he had, that was the sakina. What was that help? The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and he's been already helped, and he had the full tranquility sallallahu alayhi wasallam, but he has with him his friend Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu. And Abu Bakr, he was so sad. Not sad because of a situation, sad about the Prophet ﷺ might be killed, that might be the end of Islam. And Abu Bakr saying to, as all of you know, to the Prophet ﷺ, he said, Ya Rasulullah, just they look at their toes, they can see us. And who's standing by the cave? Abu Jahl al-Taghiyah and the army from Quraysh. And the Prophet ﷺ said, لا تحزن, don't be sad, Allah is with us. فَأَنزَلَ السَّكِينَةَ عَلَيْهِمْ. The sakina came as a soldier from Allah to shower them and to have around them, to have the strength and the serenity and the power, which is the power of the victory, comes from the way of the sakina. And if today of a believer, we want to have this order, we want to have this favor, we want to have the sakina to come to us, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala granted to the believer before us. The sakina has two conditions. A way that you can get the tranquility through our own action, as Allah made it to have asbab shar'iyya. Asbab, it has the condition that you can build it. This condition comes first with the iman, second with the remembrance. The iman, as the scholar they say, we are split or divided in our nature in two. Part that we are from clay, and the other part that there's a blow in us from the soul that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created. نفخة من روح الله سبحانه وتعالى. The part of the team is satisfied by the material thing, by the nourishment, by the food, but the other part only can be satisfied by the closeness to Allah. If you do that, and you will have the balance, they will be in full coherence with the universe, and that you have the tranquility. How can you maintain that? With the dhikr, remembrance of Allah, but not any type of dhikr. The dhikr of the heart, the dhikr of the tongue, and the dhikr of the body, when you act upon your iman by striving, helping, praying, and going to the places where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to be, as the masajid of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the tranquility that you can gain. But this tranquility, it has a limit. It has a limit. When you come to it, you cannot have, subhanAllah, that tranquility. You cannot. There's difficulties that shake the person. The difficulty that is like, subhanAllah, someone stab a knife in your heart. You cannot even swallow it. It's there. How can you have then the tranquility? You put all the condition to have it, but it doesn't come. That moment is Allah who sent it down on your heart. That moment is when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down that sakina. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in Surah Al-Fatih, in the ayat that I mentioned. The companions, Ridwanullahi ta'ala alayhim, they were ready to give their life for the sake of Allah when they gave their oath to the Prophet under the tree. But the Prophet ﷺ, later on, he gave the truce with the people of Quraysh in Al-Hudaybiyah. And they have some deception in their heart. And they could not even do the Umrah. And they felt like, subhanAllah, Ya Rasulullah, we have the deen, we are on the right, how can we deal with these people? And Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, one of the greatest Sahaba, after Abu Bakr, he also objected. Because they have some anxiety, some deception in their heart. And Allah knew that. This deception, it might have an effect on the later years, which is how they're going to get the Fath. How they're going to get the Fath of Mecca if they are defeating themselves. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling us that this order that He called the Sakina, it is the condition that Allah put in the heart of the believer to help them by His will to get the Nasr for of the Fath. هو الذي أنزل السكينة في قلوب المؤمنين. After knew that they have of sadness, He put that the truth in their heart to be embedded, and He gave them the power of Allah Ta'ala alayhim, and then زادهم إيمانا, He increased their iman. It's like they have a new iman with the sakina. And then subhanallah, when it came to the Fath, look, imagine the image when the Prophet ﷺ entering and he's making sujood on his naqa and the believer behind him. That was the result of the beautiful sakina as a soldier of Allah. And when in Ghazwat Hunayn, they been attacked all of a sudden by Hawadan, and they been like flooded, like a rain of arrows. All the believers, they ran away. The Prophet ﷺ stayed himself, by himself, with Al-Abbas and Abu Sufyan ibn al-Harith, and some of the soldiers. Everyone ran away. And the Prophet ﷺ said to the Abbas, because Ikhwani Sakina, when someone he will have it, it has certain sweetness and it becomes like identity. It becomes something that flows in the body. When you have the right dhikr, Allah will never let you down. When you have the right closeness, Allah will never let you down. When you have the right sincerity, Allah will never let you down. And even if your salat and your dhikr, you come to a point that you cannot bear it, then when Allah will help you and send tranquility in your heart, that you will have the smile on your face. That's when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it as identity in you. That's why the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when everyone is fled, subhanallah, they seeing arrows coming from every place. And the Prophet ﷺ stood by himself, next to him Al-Abbas. قُلْ أَنَا النَّبِيُّ لَا كَذِبْ أَنَا ابْنُ عَبْدِ الْمُطَّلِبِ. I am the Prophet, no lie. I am the son of Ibn Abd al-Muttalib. To say to the mushrik that the Prophet ﷺ have the bravery, the courage to stand, because Allah will never let him down. And he said to Al-Abbas, he has a very strong voice. He said, Ya Abbas, call Ahlus Samurah. And Al-Abbas called, who are Ahlus Samurah? They are the people who gave the companion their oath under the tree that Allah granted them the favor of the Sakina. The favor of the tranquility to be part of their being. When Al-Abbas, he said, قَالَ هَلُمَّ أَهْلُ السَّمْرَةِ. Subhanallah, they said in the riwayah, like everyone, his neck like being attached, and they turned, قَالُوا لَبَّيْكَ يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ. It is the Sakina. It is the Sakina that we need today. In time of difficulty, to help us have the strength of patience. It is the Sakina that we need today to help us have the strength of the contentment. It is the Sakina that we need today to help us be the firm of Allah on the way of Allah. It is the Sakina, if we fulfill this condition, Allah will never let you down and bring it down to you. A man had the bad news, the bitter news of his son that he passed away. He went to his mihrab praying the whole night. Looking for what? Asking for what? To bring back his son. He was asking for the Sakina. And the whole night, after when he came out from his mihrab, a smile on his face, on his heart. And everyone tell him about his son. He said, Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah. That's the Sakina that all of us we need. And it is a soldier from Allah. You only can get it with Allah. No money, nothing else. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala favor. نسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى أن يرزقنا السكينة والثبات والرضا والصبر. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه الغفور الرحيم. بسم الله وكفى والصلاة والسلام على النبي المصطفى أما بعد. Allah's favor on this ummah that He made this great soldier that He called the Sakina. He made it to be a condition by the thing that every one of us own, and every one of us have the choice to bring it
and to implore for it and to invoke it, which is our iman. If you really take the choice to strengthen your iman, especially in this month of blessing, Shaban, and Ramadan is coming, it is a great opportunity to know what we need to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sometimes someone in time of difficulty, he needs money, he asks Allah for money. That's the wrong dua. Someone in time of separation, and subhanAllah, the separation between spouses is going to happen. Someone asks, oh Allah, make it to be peaceful. No, don't ask that. You don't know what is good for you. Ask the sakina that is going to give you serenity, help you to think, and give you close to Allah. Sometimes you don't know what type of dua we ask. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala granted us this favor to have it in our reach, because it wasn't in the reach of people before us. For Bani Israel in the time of Talut, it wasn't in their reach because they didn't have the right iman. They didn't have the deep iman. They didn't have the true iman. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to help them, what He did? قال وقال لهم نبيهم إن آية ملكه أن يأتيكم التابوت فيه سكينة من ربكم. The evidence, the proof of his kingdom, Talut, as their prophet told them, is like a wooden box will come. They put it in front of them, and it has some belonging of Musa alayhi salam and Harun. It has the sakina. It's like some kind of subhanallah feeling. So when they look at that box, they feel comfortable. Subhanallah is saying for Bani Israel was a sakina that far from them, physical. They can see it. So if someone will steal the box, he stole away the sakina. But for the believer, it's in your heart. It's with you. That's why when Abdullah ibn Hudhafa, when he was in front of the emperor of Rome, and he wanted to delude him away from his deen, he wanted to buy his soul and to deny the Prophet ﷺ, he has a container boiled with water, with oil. And he told him, we're going to throw you if you don't deny the aqidah of Muhammad. And Abdullah ibn Hudhafa, he was crying. And he said, stop. He's like, he felt like the emperor of Rome that he came to resolve. For the first time, he going to make kneel one of the companions of the Prophet ﷺ. But he cannot. Because Abdullah ibn Hudhafa, at that time, he has the sakina in his heart. So the pardon are not tears of fear, are tears of something else. He said, what is this something else? He said, the tears that I have only one soul to give in the sake of Allah. I wish that I have 100 souls to die again and again and again in the hand of Allah. That's the sakina. That the sakina when a time of difficulty you have the smile. That the sakina when a time of real calamity you be firm. That in the sakina that Allah bestow on the true believers. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us among them. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us firmness in the iman and shower our heart in the sakina. اللهم ارزقنا الإيمان يا أرحم الراحمين وثبته في قلوبنا. اللهم اجعل أعمالنا كلها صالحة ولوجهك خالصة. اللهم آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اذكروا الله يذكركم واشكروه على نعمه يزدكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. وأقم الصلاة يرحمكم.